John Milton. John Milton was one of the greatest poets of England and is placed next to William Shakespeare in the hierarchy of English poets. His works are divided into three periods. First period, this is the period of his university career. The early poems of John Milton give expression to the feelings of his heart. In fine, they are prelude to the greater work that was to be produced in his latter life. During this period, Milton composed Ode on the Morning of Christ's Nativity, El Allegro, in Il Penseroso and Comas. Ode on the Morning of Christ's Nativity is a dignified lyric. It celebrates the birth of Christ. It is regarded to be the most beautiful ode in English literature. El Allegro means the joyful man. El Penseroso means the thoughtful man. Lycidas is one of the most famous English elegies. In it, the poet follows the convention of the Greek pastoral elegy. The poem was inspired by the death of a college friend, Edward King, who was drowned at sea. As it is a pastoral elegy, Milton imagines himself to be a shepherd. But Lycidas is something more than a pastoral elegy. In Lycidas, the poet writes about fame and corruption corruption prevailing in the Roman Catholic Church. Second period is a Milton's period of political work and prose writings. During this period, he wrote many prose pamphlets. During the period of prose writing, all that Milton composed by way of poetry are the 18 sonnets. Among the prominent sonnets of Milton on his blindness and on the late massacre are the worthy of notice. He wrote all his sonnets in Petrarchan form. Third period is the period of great poetry of Milton. During this period, Milton produced Paradise Lost, Paradise Regained, and Samson Agonis. Paradise Lost puts its message on equality with Homer, Virgil, and Dante. It is an example of what Arnold called the grand style. The theme of Paradise Lost is based on the Bible. It recounts the story of the fall of man as told in the Bible. His aim in writing the epic was to justify the ways of God to man. It has often been imitated and modified but never paralleled. Paradise Regained is also an epic. The spiritual conflict between Christ and Satan is shown by means of arguments in which Satan is completely defeated. Milton's final work is Samson Agonist, which is as pastoral as Paradise Regained. The story is that of the captive Samson among the Philistines, and it is told in the form of a Greek tragedy. The supreme quality of Milton's poetry is sublimity. His poetry elevates and uplifts us. Milton's subject matter is sublime. He introduced the sublime characters, for example, God, Satan, Adam, Eve, and Christ. He is always stately, majestic, and grand. He never stoops down. Majesty is the quality that Milton gives to English poetry. He is serious through and through. Milton was a by Puritan. The Puritans were God fearing, individualistic, and morally scrupulous. Milton was not in favor of writing cheap love poetry. He wanted to write serious religious poetry and not to dally with women's love. He sounded a stern note against the corruptions which crept into the church. He discarded rhyme in favor of blank verse. He restored blank verse to its good repute as it was done by William Shakespeare. John Milton's blank verse is highly musical and alluring. It is enchanting. Poetry has been by far our greatest artistic achievement, and Milton is by far the greatest poetic artist. His imagination is superb. Only a man of Milton's imagination could have shaped the paradise lost. He has an imaginative he has an imagination that can soar above time and space and be at home in infinity.